People still ask about work life balance. That surprises me. Not because the question isn't real, but because it's been around for decades. Books, workshops, policies, programs, and still the question persists. When a question doesn't resolve after that long, it's usually not because we haven't tried hard enough. It's because we're asking it from inside an assumption we haven't questioned. Work-life balance assumes something very specific. It assumes work is something we endure, life is something we get to later, and our job is to divide our time between the two as fairly as possible. That framing already sets up a struggle. Because as long as work is associated with survival and life is associated with enjoyment or meaning, one of them will always feel like it's stealing from the other. But I don't think the real issue is time. I think it's mode. Specifically, are we living from survival or from experience? Survival mode isn't a failure. It's an intelligent response to threat, real or perceived. In survival mode, attention narrows. It has to. Attention narrows to what needs to be handled, what needs to be fixed, what might go wrong, or what can't be allowed to happen. Narrow attention is efficient. It gets things done, but it comes with a cost. When attention stays narrowed for too long, we start to feel like we're missing our lives, even when nothing is wrong. And that's the confusing part. Life might look fine on paper. Responsibilities are being met. The calendar is full. And yet, something feels absent, distant, as if we're moving through our days, but not quite inhabiting them. Many people describe this as, I'm just going through the motions, or it feels like I'm already waiting for the weekend, or I don't know why I'm so tired, or I feel disconnected, but I can't explain from what. That's not burnout in the dramatic sense. That's missing our lives. Here's the subtle thing about survival mode. It's organized around resistance. When I'm in survival, there is always something in the present moment that shouldn't be here. A feeling I want gone, a task I want finished, a conversation I want to be over, or a version of myself that I want improved. Survival mode is future-oriented by nature. It says, once this is handled, then I can relax. Once this is fixed, then I can live. And because of that, attention stays narrowed. Not because we're doing something wrong, but because we believe something needs to change before we're allowed to be here. That belief alone is enough to keep us missing our lives. This is where work-life balance quietly turns into a survival question. It's not how many hours am I working, but how much of my day am I enduring? You can see this in very ordinary moments. Checking your email. Notice how attention narrows. The body tightens. The mind scans. And the moment becomes something to get through. Not because email is bad, but because attention is oriented toward threat, obligation, or control. Commuting. Attention narrows again. The body braces. The mind goes somewhere else. And the present moment is treated like a hallway you pass through to get somewhere better. Meetings. Even the meaningful ones. Attention narrows to, how am I being perceived? What do I need to say? What do I need to remember? And how do I manage myself here? And afterward, you might not remember much of what happened. Not because you weren't there, but because attention wasn't available for experience. This is how we miss our lives in small, invisible ways. Not because life is bad, but because attention is narrowed toward survival. Here's the question I keep coming back to. If I'm in survival right now, what part of my current experience am I resisting? What do I believe needs to be fixed before I can be okay? That question isn't meant to change anything. It's meant to reveal orientation. Because the moment you see resistance, attention often widens on its own. Widened attention feels very different. When attention widens, the body softens, the breath deepens, experience becomes textured again, and the moment regains dimension. Nothing has to change externally. The shift is internal, but not effortful. It's more like remembering there's more space than we thought. This is where the idea of experience matters. If the purpose of being alive is to experience, not to optimize, not to prove, not to justify, then work isn't the opposite of life. It's one of the places life happens, but only if attention is allowed to widen. This is also why people say things like, I don't even know what I would do if I didn't have to work. That's not a lack of imagination. It's the effect of long-term narrowed attention. Survival mode doesn't have much room for curiosity. Desire feels impractical. Rest feels unsafe. Play feels irresponsible. So life becomes abstract. Something we talk about. Something we plan for. Something we postpone. This is also where self-kindness enters quietly. When attention is narrowed, self-talk often becomes harsh. urgent, corrective, impatient. Because survival mode believes pressure is necessary. But pressure narrows attention even further. And that deepens the sense of missing our lives. Being kind to yourself isn't about indulgence. It's about creating enough internal safety for attention to widen again. When we stop fighting our own experience, the nervous system relaxes its grip. And when the grip relaxes, life becomes available. This doesn't mean we stop doing hard things. It means we stop doing them from resistance. There's a difference. You can be working and experiencing. You can be tired and present. You can be responsible without being in survival. The difference isn't effort, it's permission. Most of us are waiting for permission to live. Permission that never arrives because it's conditional. After this project, after this phase, after things calm down. But survival mode always finds something else. There's always another after. That's why work-life balance feels unsolvable. Because it's not about dividing hours. It's about whether we're allowed to experience now. So the question isn't, how do I get better balance? It's, where is my attention right now? Is it narrowed toward survival or widened toward experience? And if it's narrowed, that's not a problem. It's information. It's the nervous system doing what it learned to do. Nothing has gone wrong. You don't need to widen your attention on purpose. You don't need to practice anything. Just noticing that attention is narrowed and what it's resisting often creates enough space. This is how we stop missing our lives. Not by changing jobs, not by fixing ourselves, and not by finding perfect balance, but by noticing when survival has taken over and remembering that experience is already here. If this feels subtle, that makes sense. Most of what keeps us missing our lives is subtle, quiet, ordinary, normalized. You don't need to take this anywhere. You don't need to do anything with it. You don't need to live differently tomorrow. Just noticing when attention narrows and when it widens is enough for today.